Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a single-player game where you can play as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales.
Are you sure this isn't something you can handle yourself?
I'm sure.
It isn't just a game about fighting villains, it's about making you feel like you are Spider-Man. The game has strong evolution and storytelling. The players must balance their lives, friendships, and duties to protect those in need. Right from the start, Spider-Man throws you into an action-packed battle with Sandman. But here's the unique part. It teaches you about game mechanics seamlessly while keeping you engaged. No boring press this button tutorial scene. Instead, the game lets you learn by doing, making sure you're immersed in the world from the get-go. Let's dive into how this tutorial level achieves that. The opening of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is flashy and memorable, making it one of the more impressive introductions. It gives players context to the characters and background, giving a fresh lens to characters many players remember from the movies, while keeping some of the same iconic themes.
And a while back, I was bitten by a radioactive spider and got superpowers.
And I also got bitten by a radioactive spider that gave me superpowers.
Following the thrilling introduction, a mission arises while Peter attempts to teach at Miles' school.
Bathroom?
Okay. Are you sure this isn't something you can handle yourself?
I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Cowboy today.
Instead of pausing for a slow-paced tutorial, it immediately throws you into the action. You're web-swinging, fighting, interacting with the environment, and even switching between Peter and Miles. Without realizing it, you're in a tutorial. It's all designed to teach you the ropes while keeping you engaged. By the time you finish this level, you've already gotten a solid grasp on the game without feeling like you were in learning mode. The graphics on this game speak for themselves. It's like you are in a cinematic experience with full control. I'll let this fight scene play out.
You got it. You got it.
Now let's talk about how the game makes everything feel so intuitive. This comes down to something called affordances, or design choices. These guide the player's actions naturally. The game uses a combination of powerful storytelling and other affordances to help the user not only navigate, but also be deeply engaged with its world.
He's over.
I got it. What do we say? First, we've got visual cues. Visual cues are integrated in a cool way with this game. Normally, they're visual overlays that only the player can see but not the character. In this game, they are presented as a part of Spider-Man's suit, and the character and storyline can engage with those visual cues.
Almost there. How you holding up?
Miles? Principal Evans called.
Man, am I getting expelled?
Hey, you're just cutting class. I abandoned students during a citywide emergency.
In the learning process, this presents itself as button prompts. Additionally, this can look like visual prompts showing the player where he can go or swing. Important objects like enemies or key interaction points are highlighted to draw your attention. Need to web swing? The camera subtly nudges you towards open areas.
I'll hit him with webs while I get Sparky.
I'll keep the water flowing in the meantime. He's stunned. Take your shot.
Cool if I borrow some sand?
Then there's spatial design. The way the level is built encourages certain actions. The opening area has buildings spaced at just the right distance to push players into web swinging without hesitation. Enemy encounters are structured to introduce combat mechanisms step by step. Next, we have character abilities. Peter's Iron Spider arms and Miles's bioelectric powers create different affordances. You're not just button mashing. Each character requires a different approach to combat and traversal.
What was that? Nothing. I'm just...
And of course, there's contextual prompts. On-screen hints and button indicators appear just when you need them. But here's the cool part. They're paired with the PlayStation 5's DualSense controllers, haptic feedback, and adaptive triggers. This means you feel the tension of web swinging and the impact of comment, making everything feel even more immersive.
Great game design means teaching players without overwhelming them. Spider-Man 2 nails this with 4 key design principles. First up, clear objectives. From the moment you dive into the game, you're given a crystal clear mission: stop Sandman and protect the city. No vague hints, no confusing maps. Every objective is laid out so you always know what to tackle next, whether it's saving civilians, taking down bad guys, or just enjoying a leisurely web swinging across the skyline.
I told you to be on time.
It's fine. We'll be back before we know it.
Good. Because I had my college application review with the school counselor.
Oh, you finished your essay?
Haven't started.
Next, gradual complexity. Spider-Man 2 doesn't just throw you into the deep end. It starts simple. First, you master the art of web swinging, feeling the rush of soaring between skyscrapers. Then it layers in combat, basic punches, dodges, and web shots. As you progress, you're introduced to environmental interactions, ripping car doors off and tossing them at enemies or using webbing creatively in battle. Eventually, character abilities are unlocked, adding even more depth. By the time you're facing off against multiple supervillains, you've learned and practiced every skill naturally.
Maybe he's hungry. Should toss the big guy a snack.
What's the plan?
Keep him busy. I got an idea. Oh, crap.
Then there's environmental storytelling. Instead of bombarding you with endless cutscenes, the game lets the city tell its own story. As you swing through Manhattan, you see the aftermath of battles, wrecked cars, crowds cheering or fleeing, police barricades set up. It's a living, breathing world reacting to Spider-Man's every move. This approach keeps you immersed, making every mission feel urgent and real without spoon-feeding you information.
Up too.
No way. They're untested. Barely prototypes.
But you brought him, right?
No comment. Miles.
One and only.
And finally, seamless integration. The tutorial is a separate chore. It's a part of the adventure. You don't get pulled out of the action for a dry rundown of controls. Instead, Spider-Man's mentor moments, like Miles and Peter chatting mid-swing about new tricks, blend learning into the narrative. You're improving your skills as the story unfolds, making it feel organic and engaging.
Flash, Marco's storm is generating a lot of electricity. What happens to the surface tension of
Spider-Man 2 excels because it respects the player's experience, teaching you without you even realizing it, keeping you hooked from the first swing to the final showdown. That's great game design in action.
Want me to get hit by lightning?
Can you handle it?
There's only one way to find out.
One of the things that makes Spider-Man 2 feel so authentic is its incredibly detailed and thoughtful representation of New York City. It's not just a backdrop, it's a living, breathing world that reacts to the characters and their stories in meaningful ways.
I'm here.
Good morning, class. We have a new teacher joining us today.
A big part of this authenticity comes from how the game portrays its dual protagonists. Miles Morales isn't just a sidekick or an alternative Spider-Man. He's an equal hero with his own identity, culture, and experiences woven into the narrative. The game doesn't just tell us he's different from Peter Parker. It shows us through his interactions, his neighborhood, and the way the world around him reacts to him.
Some insects and birds, reptiles can just run right across a pond? 2 words. Surface tension.
Bathroom?
Okay.
These kind with letters.
The attention to detail extends to the entire city. Walk through Harlem and you'll hear Spanish, English, and other languages mixing together, reflecting the real diversity of New York. Different neighborhoods have their own distinct energy, from the bustling streets of Midtown to the quieter, community-driven atmosphere of Brooklyn. Street art, local businesses, and even the way NPCs talk and dress make it feel like a city filled with real people, not just background scenery.
Si tuviéramos alguna forma de localizarlo.
I got an idea.
Nice work, Ma. Back in business. If Ma's right about those trucks, they probably left behind some kind of residue.
Hey, Miles.
This level of detail isn't just cosmetic, it deepens the game's connection to the global audience. Players from different backgrounds can see themselves in the world, whether it's through the characters they play or the people they interact with. It's a small but powerful way to make the game feel more inclusive and real.
Let me focus.
Right. Good luck.
I can't believe people would do this. I was so excited about this exhibit. The whole museum, really. Look, this is an unfortunate situation I'm in here. I mean, you know how much I care about protecting the collective history of this community.
I do. Hi, Dima. I'm back with a little snacky snack.
By paying attention to these details, Spider-Man 2 doesn't just create a great superhero story, it builds a world that feels rich, lived in, and personal. It's the level of care that makes swinging through the city feel like more than just a game. It feels like stepping into a version of New York that truly exists.
At the end of the day, Spider-Man 2 proves that a tutorial doesn't have to be boring. By blending mechanics into the story, using smart design choices, and keeping everything exciting, the game ensures that players feel like Spider-Man from the very first moment. Whether you're a longtime fan or brand new to the series, the introduction sets the stage for an epic adventure. And that, right there, is how you do a tutorial correctly.